Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Rutherford, certified functional medicine practitioner, author of the book Power Health, Back to Basics, clinic director here at Power Health Rehab and Wellness in Reno, Nevada. I'm pleased to be back on the horse here talking to you. We just did a video, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, something like that. And it was called Whack-A-Mole Medicine versus Functional Medicine, Whack-A-Mole Medicine versus Functional Medicine. And if this is what I'm about to talk about over the next couple of minutes interests you, I would suggest you go to powerhealthtalk.com and look that up, because it's going to be kind of an enhancement of what I say right now and kind of give you a better explanation. I've been thinking about this a lot, and functional medicine has changed a lot over the last 12 years. And the patients that are coming in are different, they're more well educated, they're already trying a lot of things. We have probably 500 or 600 or 700 hours online already. And the whole point of that, and that data is, if you have Hashimoto's, if you have fibromyalgia, if you have peripheral neuropathy, chronic fatigue, polycystic ovarian syndrome, dizziness, vertigo, balance, some chronic problem, to help you to understand what that chronic problem is, kind of the science behind what is causing it, and giving you answers. Because the average person that comes in here, by the time they get here, they still don't have any answers. I had a person come in here the other day, and they have severe balance problems, and we're on the West Coast now, so these are some of the prominent facilities. They've been to the University of Utah Research Center, they've been to UCSF, University of San Francisco, they've been to Stanford, they've been to neurologists, and everything was normal. Nothing was wrong. This lady couldn't even stand up since 2014. Make a long story short, it turned out that she had it looks like a cerebellar ataxia is what it's called. You could look that up online. And after one visit, she was doing a lot better. The point of that is we're still getting that. We're still getting the person who comes in here and after going through everything doesn't understand why they don't know what's going on. Why didn't the doctor, in fact, I could go over like several cases I've seen in the last 2 weeks. Why didn't the doctor tell me? Why didn't they know? So those videos are all about that. Those videos are all about that. And it's interesting. We put a lot of time and effort into those videos and research. And then we get the comment of like, well, okay, you guys are telling us all that, but how come you're not telling us how to get better on our own? You're holding that back. You're not telling us, like, you know, you just want us to come to you, and you don't want, so you know, it hurt my feelings. and the reality is that we can't. This year is going to be about that. This year is going to be about why we couldn't just generally, broad spectrumly say, here's what you need to do for your fibromyalgia. Here's what you need for your polycystic ovarian syndrome. Here's what you need to do for, you know, chronic fatigue, etc. So, and I thought a good way of doing about it, I mean, we've spent a lot of time here, years, putting together a really solid classic functional medicine and practice. And we also practice functional neurology, which is an asset, because the brain is now exploding in the manner that people are understanding that the brain has a lot to do with a lot of things. They're now calling irritable bowel syndrome irritable brain syndrome. Most people don't realize how much their brain has to do with dampening immune responses, and so it's a big deal. So we've crafted a functional medicine practice that heavily uses functional neurology procedures, and that's what we do. But they meld together in organized form to address chronic problems. So I thought the best way to answer those of you who said, "Well, tell us how to get better," and from my side, to at least in many cases answer why we can't tell you how to get better completely in this venue, okay, was just to walk you through what a classic functional medicine practice should look like. And I'm not saying that because this is what I think it should look like. I have my notes in front of me here. These are my notes. And I have lots of notes. I have a notebook that you don't see here that's this thick. Actually, I have many notebooks there that are that thick. But these are my notes. These are the notes that I've taken from attending classes with literally the guys who started functional medicine, some of the top functional medicine researchers in the world. And they teach classic functional medicine. What does that mean? Classic functional medicine. It means there's a way to do it, and so there's a way to proceed. There's an organization. There's certain foundational things that need to be done before your supplements work. There's certain foundation. So you're online and you're online. I had a lady came in here the other day and she had a condition. I looked at her history. She's taking like 15 supplements, and they're all supplements that I would potentially use in her case. But she's here, and it's not working for her. So my brain's already going, okay, when we get into this and I start wanting to use a supplement, I'm going to have to answer to her why I'm already taking that supplement, why I'm not getting better. We're going to answer those questions this year. And we're going to do it in a very organized fashion. The answer to that one is one whole presentation in and of itself. And we're going to do that presentation when the time comes. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through functional medicine. An awful lot of people who do functional medicine out there don't do an exam. Now, they're going to tell you, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, these guys who have put it together are going to tell you, you need to do an exam. I just was to a seminar a month ago. And the doctor who was presenting it was on endocrinology, it was on PCOS and polycystic ovarian syndrome and infertility and menstrual problems and all heavy bleeding, all that type of stuff. He is the best friend of the person who probably I give credit for starting functional medicine or having it. And both of those will tell you they spend an hour to an hour and a half just interviewing the patient. We use an 18-page history, so do they. Okay, and so do many of the classic luminaries in this field, because this is how you're going to get the results. And just to go online and take supplements without getting the foundation under control, that's going to allow you to, first of all, know whether those supplements are even good supplements, and then secondly, are they getting into your system? Are they getting absorbed? If they're not getting into your system, is it because you're not absorbing them? Is it because of other foundational things that need to be done so that they work? We're going to walk through all that. That is the beginning of functional medicine. Before you even getting into practice functional medicine, which is looking at the person's entire physiology. It's about vicious cycles. It's about getting systems to synchronize. It's about getting your whole system in homeostasis, no matter what you come in with. Before you get into doing that, there's about 6 other things that you really need to do to make that sing. In our office, we literally have 3 doctors working on every in-office case. And we have one doctor that just does the foundational stuff relative to diet, relative to blood sugar, relative to oxygenation, things of that nature that are profound. And I've seen, I again, just saw one yesterday. I had a doctor who sent me a case, and it was a Lyme case, and he wanted me to reevaluate it for him. And this person had already gone to a Lyme doctor. It was pages and pages and pages and pages of what looked to me like standardized stuff. And some of the foundational things were in there, but they were just like all thrown in together. And that's not how it works. And that's not how your physiology works. And functional medicine is getting your physiology to work. So we're going to go through that. It's going to be very organized. Maybe we'll probably start off with what a history should look like, and certain specific things. And I'll probably just have my history form here and walk through it with you and literally tell you what I get out of each particular area of that form. And then we'll probably go through an exam. And we won't go through a whole exam because our exam's about an hour and a half long. But there are certain specifics in exam that you just can't get without doing an exam. And there are things that you don't particularly pick up on blood panels, or even MRIs or CAT scans or MRAs or EEGs or NCVs or any of that type of stuff. And it usually blows our patient's mind. Usually by the time we're done at the end of the exam, they go like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. I get it. And we'll probably show you some of the more relevant exam findings that you should use to check yourself. And when we show you these, most of these you're going to be able to do at home. And they'll point you in the right direction. And they may not, you may not be able to fix that particular thing, but they'll point you in the right direction. They'll give you some answers. And you'll see how the history and the exam give us answers. Then, after that, you should do testing. We'll talk about testing. I have a sheet of tests, and I can actually show you the sheet. But I don't use that sheet on everybody, and I don't do the same testing on everybody. I have literally 2 tests I do on everybody. And I'll talk to you about what they are when we get to that point. Because if you determine to follow this, you're going to see the organization of what a functional medicine approach should look like. And our results are consistently successful. We don't have a lot of failed cases. Okay, and sometimes it's because we don't take cases that we believe we're not going to be able to help in the beginning. And sometimes we recognize what are called obstacles to cure before we even start, and every functional medicine practitioner should do that, and I hardly know any that do. We're going to talk about that, okay? But a big part of it is we don't miss things because we follow an organized procedure that allows us to hit everything we need to hit, but also to understand specifically that patient's needs. Then we'll move into treatment. And there is a relative organization to how you attack chronic conditions. Our practice is the practice of every symptom that everybody could possibly imagine, that the mystery symptoms and chronic pain, and people who've gone and been to all these different places, and then they end up here. If a person comes here first, I almost tell them I don't even want to see them. I want them to go do everything else, because maybe they'll get better doing that rather than have to go through what I'm going to put them through. And then we walk through that. We walk, and that is comprehensive. Now, along the way, what we want to do is what you want us to do. What we want to do is what you want to understand. We're going to walk through the organization in which you should attack your system in general. We're going to walk through that. Okay, and we might have videos, we might have before and afters, we might not, we might do case studies. I get new cases every week. Some of them are going to light me up and go, ooh, we should use this one at that particular time, and we'll use them. We had some cool before and afters on the patient that I talked about just before. Maybe we'll use those. But we'll do what I have seen to be interesting to the patients who come in here. The things that have created the ahas, meaning the things that have created the understandings. Because a good functional medicine practitioner, when you're done, they don't want you being codependent with them. They want you to so precisely understand your physiology, what you need to do with as few supplements and as few drugs and as precise a diet and as exact food sensitivities, which is a whole area in of itself, as possible. And we're going to walk through that step by step by step. We're going to talk about the organization of it. We're going to talk about how some things can sabotage other things if you don't do it in the right order. We're going to talk about supplements. I use supplements all day long. It's an art. And my supplements are not inexpensive. And the reason they're not inexpensive is because they are nutraceutical pharmaceuticals. They are pristine. They are pure. They work. Nobody takes our supplements and goes, I don't know if they're working or not. They either feel better or they feel worse. And that tells us what we need to be doing. So we'll do a whole area on supplementation. And we'll take the bullets there from all the people who are selling all the great supplements out there and stuff like that. And there are a lot of great supplements out there, but there are a lot of not great supplements out there. A lot more not great supplements than great supplements. And we'll go into that. And then we'll kind of go into, so we'll walk through the treatments, we'll answer all those questions, and we will take questions from you along the way. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to answer all your questions. Okay, what it does mean is we will look at those questions, and the ones that are applicable at certain parts along the way that are going to be representative to a broad spectrum of people, we'll be answering those. And because we want to do what you want to hear. I've been in practice a long time. This is my 39th year in practice here in Reno, and I was in practice back in New Jersey before I got here. Don't throw things at the camera. And and then before that, you go to school for several years, and so I've been in this a long time. And this is the thing right now. This is really where medicine should be. We have a medical profession that is mind-bogglingly monolithic and just like, no, the test doesn't say this, so we're not going to do that. The test says this, I'm going to do that. I know you don't feel better, but the test is normal. And I am not anti-medicine. Those of you who watch me know I'm not. I work with medical doctors. I have a very good relationship with the medical doctors that I work with. But there's a place for medicine, and you can watch the whack-a-mole video that I referred to earlier. And there's a place for functional medicine, and I'll tell you when that is, and I'll walk you through how to know when that is. So the never medicine, or the never drugger, I'm never going to take a thyroid medication in my whole life. They may not be a good patient here, depending on their history and the potential for them getting off thyroid medication. But we may get them to the point where they'll actually get their thyroid medication right and use it properly. And probably 60-70% of our patients don't need thyroid medication when they come in here for a thyroid problem. We'll explain all of that, okay? So it's going to be a flow of me sharing with you all the things that I've had to learn to get successful outcomes with patients. And if I didn't say this already earlier in this, I mean, I just had a couple of wows in the last week, a couple of like light bulbs going on my head, and a couple of really tough cases that we had that we were able to move from, like, say, point, C to point B on the way to point A, where we were stuck, and it was just like, how did I not know that before? So when you're in on the trenches, I mean, we guys in the trenches, we have kind of a attitude. It's like you listen to these studies online, and then you say that study is wrong because that study didn't cover this, it didn't control for that, and then you go, well, you know better than a Harvard study of $150 million, and I go, yeah, because we've had 40,000 patients walk through this clinic, and we've seen a lot. And I know when I look on Wikipedia and it tells me that these supplements that I'm using, or these herbs that I'm using for anxiety don't work, and I'm seeing them work every day, I know that's wrong. So those of us who are in the trenches, I think we have a little bit more of a feel for this. We're the ones who are on the line. We're the ones who are like, the patient comes in, they got to get better. I don't know about most doctors, but I'm like, get stressed if the patient's not doing as well as I'd like them to be doing. And I think most doctors do. So we're going to share that with you over the next period of time. There's so much, and I think that's what you're going to come to understand. There are so many nuances to taking a person who is ill and taking them from ill, stopping that downward progress that they've been experiencing forever, or getting them off of that hump, because today a lot of people are coming in, they've already been on the diets, they've tried multiple diets, they've tried supplements, and a lot of them, maybe they got off of gluten and whatever it was, and a lot of them have stopped the downward progress, or at least slowed it down tremendously, or even reversed it, but now they're stuck. That's a new evolution in my practice. Like 12 years ago, nobody knew anything about anything. I've told them to get off of gluten, they would start like, get up and walk out. Well, I'm not giving up my pizza and my vodka and my this and my that. So we're going to go through all of that, and I think you're going to find the complexities, and I think you're going to understand them. And some of you are going to, in this series, are going to, you know what? I think if I do that, it's going to help me because I've already done this, and this, what he said. Or you're going to go, well, I haven't done this, and this. Maybe I'll try that, do it on my own, and I'm good with that. Look, they're saying that there's going to be 160 million chronic pain patients in this country by 2020. And if my watch is right, this just turned into 2019. We're talking over half of the population in this country. So no doctor should be holding anything back, because there's not going to be any shortage of business for them if that's what they're worried about. And to me, I'm at the end of my career here. Maybe I'm not at the end of my career. I don't know. I'll probably be here 10 years from now saying I'm at the end of my career. But you know, you want to share, and you'd like to see people, you know, maybe live a little bit better life. And for those of you who, you know, who aren't doing well, then who knows? Maybe you'll show up at my office one day and maybe you won't. But at least I would have an educated patient, because it's harder today. It's actually harder that people know more to get people well, because people think they're educated because they've read some stuff online. They maybe don't realize they don't have a background to completely understand what you know, what they've learned or what they didn't learn. So it's a little harder today. I almost have to like deprogram people. So if people have watched stuff like this, it would make them a much better patient. But in the end, this just feels like a fun thing to do. I would enjoy it. I've been asked to do it. I know a lot of the people who are viewers are going to like this, because they really were the generator of me doing this, and I wanted to get back online, and this seemed like a fun way to do it. So if you have questions, yeah, you know, I would wait. You know, maybe you got some questions right now, and you would send us. We're going to be guided by the interest of the viewer to a degree, and they're going to tell us where you guys want to go. So feel free to let us know what you want to do, and then we're going to start this. We're probably, I don't know, right now we're talking about maybe doing it on a regular basis, maybe on a Friday. I don't know what our schedule is going to be. Before, we were doing everything on a Tuesday morning, so we're going to be, and we may morph into a couple of other things here, maybe some clinical pearls. Maybe we'll do some case studies. Those are kind of fun for you to understand how we think through a fibromyalgia case. An actual case study like the one I just talked about is actually a mind-blowing case of this lady who has had this horrendous balance problem since 2014, and she's going to do well. You know, maybe walk you through a case like that. Maybe cases that are representative of wide swaths of our patient base, of a PCO case, a fibromyalgia case. But we'll do it within the context of this. Or we may develop maybe another flow where we do that separately. But we're going to educate. This year is going to be education. And we'll see where that takes us. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. I know basically what we're going to be sharing with you is what we do here in the office. And patients just really... I think it's the one thing that patients tell us sets us apart. Our true goal is to not have you to be codependent on us when we're done. We have 3 doctors, like I said. We have 1 doctor that spends time with the patient. I kind of run the cases. We have 1 doctor who does our functional neurology. We're all educators. We don't want you taking a supplement unless you understand exactly why you're taking it, what it's going to do, so on and so forth. And I'm not supposed to bang the desk like that. So I just saw my producer put his head down like this. So anyway, that's where we're going. I think I'll wrap it up with that, and before I start banging the desk too much more, because I can get a little fired up over this stuff. And I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to go over very well, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if that's the case. And so starting probably next week, we'll start on this flow, and it's going to be kind of it's going to be kind of an amorphous amoeba type animal that may change through the year, but it's going to change depending on the feedback that we get from you. So watch that video. I don't normally watch my own videos ever, but I was convinced by my wife to go back and watch the video that I did on Whack-A-Mole Chiropractic, and it really is kind of with this together with what we just did. It's really kind of a massive intro to what this year is going to look like, and I think it would be information. If this sounds like it's going to be like interesting to you, that'll be interesting to you, and let me know what your thoughts are on that too. So hopefully I'll see you next week. And we'll be adding a piece to the puzzle each week, and I'm looking forward to doing this again. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.